anger is not a good thing. You should not be angry. You should control your anger. How many times do we listen to these phrases every day in our lives? Why is it that anger is such an uncomfortable emotion? Why is it so stigmatized in the society? To understand all these things, the first thing that we need to understand is what is anger. So basically, anger is an emotional response to threat. Whenever our mind perceives that there is a threat to us in the form of hurt, in the form of a fear, in the form of an injury, our mind kicks in with an emotion called anger. So that means anger is a self-preservation technique used by the brain. It is a survival technique. Then it should be good. Now, whether it is good or bad depends on how you deal with it. If we look at people around us, most of the people deal with anger in two ways. Either they burst out, so they resort to things like shouting, screaming, violence to the extent of even murdering people. Another kind of people are those who have been conditioned by the society to be the good girls and the good boys. They have always been told to not be angry, to drink down their anger, and they're always denying that they're angry. If you ask them, they'll be like, angry? Me? No, never. I am smiling. But it doesn't work that way. Both of these situations are extremely destructive. If you're the first kind, you're causing harm to people around you, to the society. If you're the second kind, you're causing huge damage to your own system. Anger poisons your system. It'll cause you serious psychological and physiological damages. So there has to be a midway. To understand the midway, the first thing that we need to understand that anger is a cover emotion. All our emotions have vibrational states. When we are happy, when we are in a joyful mood, when we are satisfied, we are in a very high vibrational state. But when we are depressed, when we are sad, when we are fearful, when we are feeling helpless, when we feel that we have no control of what is happening around us, we are in very low vibrational states. And that is why we say that we are feeling low. And anger is a cover emotion to cover these low states of vibration. So if you are in a denial mode, if you do not let yourself express this emotion, you will fall into being frustrated, being victimized, feeling as if things are falling out of your control. So the first thing that you need to do is find out the underlying reasons, the underlying fear, the underlying injury, the underlying pain. How can you do that? Ask yourself questions. When you're angry, there are people who complain that we are most of the times angry. In that situation, ask yourself questions like, what is it that I'm so threatened of? And when you get the answer to this question, ask yourself questions like, why am I so threatened of this particular thing, this particular person, this particular situation? Ask yourselves, what is it in this situation, in this place or person that I am so afraid of? And when you find the answer to these questions, see how you can change those things around you to make them better. The second thing, as I said, it is very important to validate your emotion. It is important to accept that it is okay to be angry. It is okay to feel this emotion. Name it. Name it as such. When you're angry, say, I am angry because of certain reason. Because if you don't recognize in the first place that you're angry, you will never be able to work on the underlying reasons. The third thing that you need to do is do it a little differently. So whenever you are angry, try to kick in empathy and compassion. Because when you feel empathetic for the other person, when you try to perceive the situation from the other person's angle, whom you're angry on, then you try to understand their problem. I'll give you an example. In my office, I gave work to someone, but they could not complete it in time. My immediate response would be to shout at them, throw the file at their faces and be angry. Why couldn't you do it? But if I just try to kick in some empathy and try to understand that might be they were not well, Maybe there was some problem with their family. And if we try to understand a way that there are times when we also are not able to complete our work in time, then we will definitely look at the situation from an entirely different angle. Another thing that you can do is put your pen to paper. As I said, anger is a state of confusion. When you're angry, you don't realize what is happening around you. You feel that the situation is out of your control. Your mind cannot control what is happening around you. In such a situation, when you try to write down your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, what are you feeling exactly at that particular time, it helps you in understanding the entirety of the situation and make a better decision. The fourth thing, and very important, when you are angry, when you have already kicked in that emotion, what to do? The best thing to do is delay the response. Now, why I say delay the response? Because basically our brain is divided into two parts. There is an emotional brain and there is a rational brain. So anger is an emotional state. It is kicked in through the emotional brain. If you delay the response by a couple of minutes, say 15 to 20 minutes, and your rational brain kicks in, you will be able to make a more mature and informed decision. I'll give you an example. For example, someone messaged me saying something and I felt really bad about it. My first instinct would be to reply them in a very harsh and rude tone. But if I just control myself in that very moment and let that sink in for 15 to 20 minutes, I'll be able to think of so many different ways to reply to that message, and things would be easier. Another way, which is very debatable, is to channelize your anger. So basically, when you're angry, there's a lot of energy in your body and it wants to come out. Now, a lot of people may say that you can channelize your anger through various ways, like maybe dancing to very fast songs or running or punching a punch bag. But these are all very temporary solutions. They can help you in the moment, definitely. But if you do not use mindfulness, if you do not use other cognitive techniques of understanding the underlying reasons of your anger, this will not help you in the long run. So if you are using the channelize the anger technique, then use other techniques with it. For delaying the response, a very practical technique is the breathing technique, which most of the psychologists and health experts recommend. What you do is, whenever you are very angry, just relax, pause for a moment, take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Do it 3 to 4 times. Your mind will feel much more relaxed and better. So the next time you're angry, just try to remember these points and let me know if they help you. See you tomorrow.